are squatters' rights? And I think you understand now, I don't have the answer to that question. If you have an attorney, I do not have the answer to that question. Can the city designate a property a nuisance or take over property or condemn? So again, the powers that my bureau has on private property can include receiving a vacation order where we can vacate everyone off the property with PPP assistance. It can be a criminal act that PPP can arrest for. So once we have a vacate order in hand, we can make sure that people do not come back. We work with police. We let them know that we have an issued vacate order. They keep an eye on the property. And once they know there's a vacate order, if they see anyone on that property, they don't need to wait for us to call and tell them that. They'll put that on their watch list, and they can actively monitor those properties as well. We can receive orders to demolish properties. Like I said, we have taken down several homes. Again, those are the extreme situations. The city's business is not knocking down homes. Demolition orders are afforded to us by the code hearings officer when we can establish that there really is no other solution, that the value of the home is so far gone that rehabilitation is in the cards. So the city's interest is not knocking down good homes. We will ask for a demolition order and proceed with a demolition action when that isn't the only option, when the house is too far deteriorated or damaged. It just doesn't make sense. It's lost all its value. Nuisance. Can we designate the property a nuisance? There's a chronic nuisance code, and that's operated through the city attorney's office with Portland Police, and that's a completely different standard altogether. My bureau does have nuisances, but those are conditions for bags of garbage in the yard, overgrown grass, trash and debris throughout the exterior property area. It's not a designation of a property per se. Question 6 out of 9. Is it legal to move property such as a cart packed with bike parts from private yards or sidewalks? Again, this would be a nuisance condition. So our nuisance code primarily addresses private property. When we have nuisance conditions that extend into the adjacent right-of-way, our nuisance code does provide us authority to address adjacent right-of-way. So if you have a problem property where the material and debris, trash is going out into the sidewalk, into the planter strip, if there are open pickup beds, vehicles stored in the roadway surface that have bags of garbage, that type of debris stored in it, that is something that we can address and we can cite for as a nuisance. If those items are blocking the sidewalk, we can also cite for a sidewalk obstruction as well. So we hold the property owner is responsible for the adjacent rights of way in those situations. If a home has been trashed by squatters, filled with trash, needles, etc., and is a fire hazard or public health hazard, who do we call? Who is ultimately responsible to clean up to ensure safety? The Bureau of Development Services code enforcement line is 823-CODE. Say it with me. 823. That's 2633. Okay. So 823-CODE, that's our enforcement hotline. We answer that, we staff that phone line during normal business hours, 8 to 5. If it's after those hours, you can leave us a voicemail that will log in your call and call you back to get a case set up. We also have an online submittal platform. You can submit online complaints with pictures and we can get cases set up there. So houses that have been trashed by anybody that have nuisance conditions or housing conditions, lack of utilities, dangerous situations. Our housing code deals with exterior conditions and interior conditions. It applies to rental properties and owner-occupied. So if you have houses that have deterioration, are neglected for any reason, where people the front stairs are unsafe, there's holes in the roofs, there's broken windows, those are all conditions that you can call us up about, and we can perform an investigation to look into those. city is doing it, someone's using the city property, but we have established violations and we send those out. And we find that working with our property managers, we are able to address those pretty quickly. Is the city finding owners who are not maintaining private abandoned properties? So yes, we are finding private property owners for all code violations. Again, our goal is compliance, it's education-based, but I would say 15% of all cases are going to result in the assessment of a code enforcement fee, which is made a lien against the property. Those liens can grow over time if they're not paid. We have, I guess, levels of people who want to comply. Generally, there's a segment of population that will receive the first bill and comply at that point. There's people that will receive the third bill when the amount doubles, and that's the incentive they need. And then there's a smaller group of folks that I call tough nuts to crack. I don't know what number is going to be worthwhile for them, and so we have extremely large lien balances for some properties that are not correcting or have taken a long time to correct and now need to pay off their loans to the city for cost recovery purposes. But we are pretty robust in our assessment of fees. I would say in any city bureau, we probably assess the most code enforcement fees. The city ombudsman has some concerns over our program, and what we've said is we're all ears to give a better solution, but we're doing our best to try to solve the city's concerns because those are the enforcement tools that are available to us to get meaningful corrections on private property. Last question, do we call 911 non-emergency or the city to report illegal squatting